Welcome to the Heart of a Viking. This channel offers elementary art lessons taught by Mrs. Minto from the Cape Henlopen School District in Delaware. I look forward to virtually creating with you. There are new lessons posted weekly. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss a single one. So go grab your art supplies and your thinking caps and let's begin. Artists, aren't you ready to make these beautiful nighttime mountain chalk pictures? All right, so what we're gonna need to do to get started with this project is make sure we have a dark piece of paper that's going to set our nighttime scene. So I'm gonna use black, but dark blue would be fine too. And then a thick piece of paper that's longer than your piece of artwork going across. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna start about halfway on the left, put a little dot there for myself as a guide, and then do the same on the right side. Now I'm going to connect these dots with a mountainy kind of line, not too high, but also not too low. I don't want to touch the top or the bottom edge. Then I'm going to twist it, and using just my pincher fingers, I'm going to nibble, nibble, nibble very slowly on the line, as much as I can, of course. If I get a little off the line, no big deal. But I'm going to nibble, nibble, nibble across the line until I get to the other side. The goal is to get these two halves of my paper apart without actually ripping off any little pieces. I really need to keep these in one long piece each, a top long piece and a long piece on the bottom. All right, I'm almost there to the other side. Great, excellent. If yours does tear apart, do me a favor and tape it back together before you start the next part with me. Okay, so now I'm going to move my black paper aside, trying to keep it as clean as possible and away from the chalk. I'm going to go ahead and take one of my torn pieces right here, and I'm going to get my drawing chalk. Drawing chalk is a little different than sidewalk chalk, but sidewalk chalk would probably work for this part too. So if you only have sidewalk chalk, go ahead and try it. I bet it'll work. All right, so I'm going to pick a mountainy kind of color. I'm going to go with purple, and I'm going to color just like a line on each of the raggedy edges, the parts that I tore. So I'm only coloring this colored chalk on the part that I tore, all the way across, laying it down pretty thick. So I'm pressing kind of hard here. Okay, great. Now put the chalk aside for a second, pick this guy up, bring your black paper back, and you're going to flip it so that the flat edge of the tan paper is lining up with the flat edge of the black paper. Now it doesn't have to be all the way to the top. I just want them looking at each other like this. Now I'm going to use my left hand to hold and one or two fingers from my right hand to squish down the dust from the chalk, and you can see it getting onto my black paper. And this is looking pretty good, but wait till I pick this up. Now I'm going to go across 2 or 3 times. I'm going to go from the side. It's a little bit easier for me. There we go. So I'm just brushing it across. Brush it, brush it, brush it, brush it, brush it, brush it. That's looking really good. And then after you've gone across 2 or 3 times, you are gently going to lift this tan piece of paper off of the black paper. Oh, I can't wait for you to see it. Are you getting ready? Here we go for the big reveal. Ta-da! Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh. And did you notice how I shook my paper? If there's extra dust, shake it off. Don't brush it off because it'll make a mess on your paper. Okay, so now I'm going to take this same piece and I can flip it over, or I can color on the same side. It really honestly doesn't matter. Now, since I already used that light purple, I'm going to use something else that's kind of mountainy. Maybe the dark purple, or maybe a green or a brown, whatever you decide. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and color again on the raggedy edge. And again, I could have colored on the front of this. That would have been perfectly fine too. It doesn't matter. As long as you're only coloring on the raggedy edge, it's fine. Laying it on pretty thick. Now this time, when I go to my picture, I'm going to go right where I was and then down just a little bit. So right about there, that looks good. So right where I was, but then down a little bit. And again, same idea. Push, 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 and I'm pushing the dust off of my little tan paper and onto my black paper. Push, push, push. That's looking good. I'm going to go across several times before I pick this up and peek underneath. Ta-da! That looks really good. Oh, but I think I want a little bit more. So you know what? Before I take it all the way off, I'm going to add a little bit more chalk and do it again. And if that happens to you, you should do the same thing. If you're not getting as much chalk off as you want, add a little bit more, and do it again. That's the great thing about art. You don't ever have to be done. That looks a lot better. Okay, super duper. Okay, so now I'm gonna keep doing that same thing until I have however many rows of mountains that I want. Now I ended up with some like weird smudges here from the back of my tan paper, so I'm just gonna smudge those out, but honestly, not a problem because mountains aren't perfect anyways. Okay, so now I'm gonna start working on the next row. Okay, so you want to go almost to the bottom, but not quite down to the bottom. So I'm going to stop right here. That'll be my last row of mountains. And now I'm going to pick some like green and brown, maybe black even. And what I'm going to add is the land that is flat in front of these hills or mountains. So first I'm drawing my horizon line. That should be a word you know. Then I'm going to use the side of the chalk to very gently rub across back and forth to make the land. Then I'm going to use my fingers again to smudge, smudgy, smudgy. And then I think I'll mix in a couple of other colors that I think are appropriate for land. Maybe some green, maybe some darker brown, maybe some black. I don't know. Let's see what I get into. All right, that's looking so good. All right, so now that that's all finished, we're gonna move up to the sky. Kind of the same idea, but not nearly as much color. So I'm gonna grab maybe like a darker blue, maybe a tan or a white, and I'm going to just rub ever so gently. This is kind of like a tannish, peachy color. Maybe I'll add a little bit of blue in there. Remember, this is nighttime though, so not too much color up here. And then rub, rub, rub. Make sure you go between your mountains. Don't just stop at the top edge of the mountains. Go right down to the mountains. It's okay even if your fingers rub along the top edge of the chalk there. That's okay. And if you missed a spot like I did right on the side, go ahead and add some more over there. And then using a bright color like maybe white or that peachy color that I have there, I'm going to add some stars in the sky. So I'm going to just press down with the chalk and give it a little twist because I don't want my stars to end up too big. So I'm just going to do like a press and twist. See how my hand is just like, it's almost like I'm opening a doorknob, right? So like press and twist, or maybe you can even just tap depending on your type of chalk that you have. You can even draw a moon up in the sky if you want to. Yay! So what do you think? Aren't they beautiful? I love these. And after having some conversations with the students here at HOB, I also found out that these do have kind of a Northern Lights sort of look to them as well. So you could even alter the way that you do this a little bit and make it look like the Northern Lights in the sky instead of mountains. But I like mine as mountains. So I hope you had a great time experimenting. I can't wait to see the color combinations for your mountains that you came up with. And I'll see you back here next time at the Heart of a Viking. HOB artists, don't forget to hop on over to Artsonia to upload a photograph of your piece of artwork to your art portfolio. I can't wait to see it.